into the current context. And I think the two pieces I would say, as we carry this through the day today, is for us, just transition means we're building campaigns that are both visionary and oppositional. That both aspects of that are essential. And I think that's reflected in the program throughout, but it's like we're transitioning from this thing we're against toward this thing we're for. And that both of those aspects are essential. That we can't just build enough cooperatives that's going to like defeat global imperialism, because it's a part of it. We also have to be fighting at the source of where we have to be directly confronting the attacks in our communities, but we also can't only attack that we're often up against so much. We don't have the time to plan like this and really point toward what is it that we need to build if we're going to survive and really create in a full way that alternate world, because it's not just going to appear if we don't vision it and work toward it and collectively assess what it is we need in order to be able to govern. So that is a lot of what we're talking about around just transition. And the last thing I'll say as I pass it to Piper is there's a lot of examples of this, but one that's current right now that I wanted to just mention is that people are following Peabody Coal. So Peabody Coal, they just declared bankruptcy, right? And it's been knowing that was going to happen for some time. But the thing about it is that the way the whole system is rigged is that even if they spent years exploiting workers, treating people poorly, poisoning communities, poisoning the air, endangering all of our collective survival, they can declare bankruptcy and still get parachute packages for executives and duck and run from the tremendous harm they've caused communities while displacing thousands of workers. So there right now, folks from the Black Mesa Water Coalition in Arizona, folks from MORE in Missouri, the organization MORE, and folks even in Kentucky for a long time with Kentuckians for the Commonwealth have been building campaigns based on just transition to say not only do these workers deserve a better condition, but our communities deserve reparations, we deserve health reparations, environmental reparations, and we can envision a different future. So that's what we're really here to build together in the context of the
Peace, everybody. Peace. So, just for like 1 second, can we just do something real quick? Could we please just, everyone, I want to just honor all of our ancestors. And I want to honor everyone that has come before us in this work. I want to honor the elders in the room. I want to honor the babies in the room. And I want to honor that we're real humans, and this is real. Is that okay? That's all right with y'all? Okay, so I'm going to out myself that I'm hip-hop. So that's what I identify as, so I kind of rock with that. And I also am very passionate about what I do, so I had to write everything down so I don't start cursing and screaming and yelling and stuff, if that's okay. It's real. And so with Just Transition, I'm just gonna let you guys know that I came in contact with that term in Detroit in 2014. And so I've only been like living this for like, 2 years now? And it's very real to me, because it's something that I decided to do after I came in contact with it, because I was like, yeah, that's what it is. It's interconnected struggles, right? And I said something to somebody yesterday, and I was like, yeah, do we want climate change like with racism? Yeah, okay. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking about, right? Like, how is all this connected? So who am I? Why am I standing here? So my name is Piper Carter, and I identify as an indigenous Black woman from the colonies of New York City and Detroit. And I just gotta let you guys know that as a part of this Just Transition, what has happened on Earth Day is hip-hop has officially declared the 10th element of hip-hop is health and wellness. And that's real deep, because hip-hop is very, ingrained in misogyny and patriarchy and all that, and that's something to have that be declared, right? That's a win because hip hop is our youth culture, and if we're really gonna win, we have to have everyone on board, right? We need a spiritual healing, right? We need spiritual cleansing and spiritual healing. Like this is spiritual work that we're doing right here. No matter what we believe in, it's spiritual. Because we really believe in what we're fighting for and what we're working for, right? But like, who cares if you're over here fighting, you know, for like clean power and all that, but you don't care about what's going on in queer and LGBTQ communities? Like, does anybody hear what I'm talking about right now? Okay. I just don't, because that's the just transition. And like, we're real comfortable in everything right now because it was cute and it was fun and we really appreciate everything, but we're like living on stolen land. And let's just be reminded as we use these words, like these big words, as we're bringing people into these movements, like nobody cares about our vocabulary. They want to see our actions and they want to see like how does it relate to me and my life right now. So we got to bring that into the world. So in Detroit, what we did is we were like, yeah, like what does this mean to the hood? Like what does climate justice mean to the hood? So we were like, what are our fronts of struggle? So we broke it down that our fronts of struggle in Detroit are water, food, education, black liberation, and environmental justice, and of course, climate justice. And so for us, the climate has to include the people. Because a lot of times, like environmentalists will get real right, like the environmental issue. What about the people though? Okay. And then what we did is we decided, okay, well, in our Just Transition People's Movement Assembly, that sounds real fresh, that we wanted to make it relevant because in Detroit, what has been done to us, our form of genocide is an attack on all fronts. So we had the emergency manager raid down and destroy people's democratic ability to participate in any kind of process, right? That destroys the voice of the people and it destroys the hope of the people. We're already dealing with various forms of internalized oppression, right? We have lots of white allies. How do we motivate our white allies to be accountable to us? Right? If our white allies want to be in our communities and supporting us, like we have to, right, ask you to be accountable to us, right? Hello? I'm sorry, I got a great tooth. Okay. And then, you know, and how do we hold ourselves accountable, right? Because it's one thing that we're talking real good and everything, but then are we living this? We gotta walk this walk. And then another thing about Just Transition that we had to do is we were like, okay, in Detroit, we got to build intergenerational movement, right? Because you got the elders that's over here, like they're pissed off, like we've been doing this work for a long time, and the youth are over here, like, yeah, but you guys, you know, what you're doing, it didn't win. I mean, you know, and so how do we connect and have those conversations, right? We need to increase our capacity for community self-determination. We can't ask for a grant for our liberation. But I'm still writing grants. That's the Just Transition, because I want my reparations. How about that? Right? It's not, and as Jared said, it's not an either or. Y'all want clean air or clean water? Come on now. Okay, so, and then we're talking about how do we de-silo our movements, right? Hello? Because this is an interconnected struggle, and we're interconnected as people. And, you know, I can't do this by myself. I care a whole lot. But it's a whole lot of people working together with lobbyists and budgets and stuff like that, like planning our genocide. I didn't mean to, like, you know, bring it down, but that's what it is. Right? And so where's our lobbyists? Who's lobbying for us? Like for real, bro. Right? Okay, in these streets. And so I'll kind of like put a period right there because I said a whole lot, but without even saying anything per se. But I just wanted to also let you guys know that I'm here representing an organization called East Michigan Environmental Action Council. And they love me so much that I don't even like work for the organization. I'm like a professional volunteer for them. And I'm out here in these streets, like, you know, I'm all about that life, y'all. Like, what's up with, you know, do y'all care about climate? You know what I mean? And we do stuff like climate justice mixtapes and food justice mixtapes, and we out here in the streets making videos because it's really important to us that we connect with the people. Because we can be out here and all radical and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, it's a whole bunch of people over here that are not necessarily evil, but they really love capitalism. And they're not about to give that up. Because they worked real hard for it, because they went to school, got a degree, and they're living that life. Right? That's our win. Those people are our win. Right? I'm not talking about the Trump supporters, right? But it's some of them, right? Some of them might be some wins, right? Yeah. But like just transition is like, right? Like if we're over here, right? Like in our where we want our world, right? Who's over here with me? So let's get, well, we're not gonna go all the way over here, but let's get like, can we get like the people from here to come over here? Well, let's get them here. Can we get them here? You see this right here? What does this say? No warning. Build an economy for people and the planet. Who's about that life? No warning. Build people's economy. No war. No warning. Build people's economy.
Real quick, we're going to cut in line. We're here representing the Youth Activist Summit. Can I hear from the back? It's really important that we're here with the young people. There's also a kids convention. Are they in the room? And to paraphrase Asada Shakur, she says, no one is going to give you the education that will overthrow them. So we need to make it ourselves. We have a huge, awesome lineup of workshops that we're going to. And we also have a healing powers area that everyone should feel free to visit because part of our political work is our self-care, taking care of each other and ourselves. So please visit that across from the library. And Jonah?
Yeah, so we're really excited to be here, and if you're part of the Youth Activism Summit, it's time to go to your workshop.
Hello.
Sorry, y'all. Mercury's in retrograde. Hi, everyone. My name is Jill O'Golliman. I hail from the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Washington. And I don't know if I can follow all those ads. Folks are so hypey this morning, and folks from the Pacific Northwest are kind of weird and awkward, so excuse my weird and awkwardness this morning. I'm with an organization called God Green. We are a people color-led organization that works at the intersections of environmental justice, racial justice, economic justice, and gender justice. We are also a proud member of Grassroots Global Justice and the World Marching Women U.S. chapter. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in West Seattle, the usual sights and sounds I saw outside my bedroom were the smoke plumes coming from the Northcore steel factory, the Port of Seattle cranes, the boats, the cars, the traffic, the highways, the Superfund site, which I didn't even know was a Superfund site, but apparently was just down not too far away, and then there's a fishing dock where my dad fishes with his buddies. And it was through this work, through this community work, that I learned that these sights and sounds is not how the world is supposed to be. That our earth is hurting from years and years of extraction, burning, cutting down, and destruction that our economic and political system has allowed, to the point that islands are disappearing, that places that have not experienced storms or drought are experiencing them now. And that to this day, people are losing their homes from storms, extreme weathers, and wildfires. I had the opportunity to learn a little bit about Vermont, and that you have 5 seasons, and now we just have muddy season, and that it's even in places in the world that are beautiful as Vermont. And this is actually my first time to visit, so I'm happy to be here today and see all those amazing things. And this is also the world where we are feeling the effects of global warming for the next 40 to 50 years that will impact people of color and poor people first and worse. We live in a world where the zip codes or the neighborhood you live in can define your life expectancy, where youth of color are attracted to low-wage, dirty work without career pathways, or they get stuck in the prison pipeline or are targeted by police or ICE. Where nationally 68% of African Americans live within 30 minutes of a coal-fired power plant, the distance within which the maximum effects of smokestack fumes are expected to occur. Where for the past 2 years, 100,000 residents of Flint, Michigan drank, cooked, bathed, and lead-contaminated water. Rates of lead poisoning can impair brain development and cause other serious health ailments. Where manifest destiny is being played out in new forms today in cities and towns across the nation and the world. Gentrification is colonization, creating dislocation of our people of color and working class folks, rising rent, rising property values, rapid development. It's pushing our people away from their communities, their social safety nets, opportunities, and all the things that make them healthy and strong. Where war, economic instability, droughts, superstorm conditions have forced millions across the globe to migrate, majority of whom are women. 20 million of the 26 million people are women being displaced by climate change. And also, where the majority of our food producers, landless farmers and farm workers and food workers are food insecure. They can't even afford to put the food that they're picking on the table for their own families. Take a breath. So, how did we get here? This is not some random accident that all of this is occurring. Rather, it's years and years of policies and decisions that have made these things play out, these racist policies, these unjust policies. It's impacting generations of our people, disproportionately Black people and people of color around the world and here. Entire communities have been poisoned and deemed sacrifice zones. This current economy, this system of capitalism and empire is literally killing our earth and our communities. We've had a brigade of newer policies, aka false solutions, that are coming around the world, work like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So they basically knocked on steroids. And cap and trade. Yeah, right? They keep trying to sneak cap and trade in everything that I see. I'm like, wait, do you mean cap and trade? Like, maybe. And then another solution that we keep seeing from our governments is more policing, more military. I just heard that the mayor in Seattle, instead of funding labor standards enforcement, he wants to put more money into the police so that they can, right? Instead of protecting Black and brown workers and local workers, he wants to protect the interests of developers and private property. We have this continuous battle against, all of these things, all of these multinational corporations who are land grabbing and pushing our people around. And yet we see resilience, we see people resisting. And so it is really about how do we fight this power, fight these false solutions, and repair the damage that's been done to our earth. However, we can't have a just transition without a world march of women. The violence which women in this world experience, poverty, exploitation, dislocation, and physical harm run parallel to the violence happening to our earth. As long as these corporations and these governments seek to exploit both the women and the earth, we will never get to where we want to go. And so not only that our women bear the brunt of these attacks, but they hold the solutions. Whether in the global south or global north, our women are already leading the way in our front lines. We also have such knowledge from our indigenous communities, the original defenders of this land. They are putting their bodies on the line, directly stopping the fossil fuel industry, countering the current exploitative economy. And they hold that knowledge of a localized economy before capitalism arrived. And so I think that we should look to and learn from and listen to our indigenous communities. And so, in sum up, you have to shift away from this racist, patriarchal, capitalist system as a primary way to solve our problems, embrace what our communities have. But we can't do that without our youth. And our youth today are being wasted, and their potential is being wasted. And so we need to ensure that our youth are being held, are being lifted up, aren't being imprisoned, aren't being, kicked out of school or wasted away. In Seattle, we have they're trying to build a $210 million youth jail, right? That money can be used to the investment of our communities, investment of our youth. And so, all of these things, it's going to be our youth, our young people who are going to lead our movements here around the world and build creative, reimagined ways of doing so. I really appreciate that there's this multicultural movement that's happening, because it is going to take that connection between our elders, our youth, and all of us together everywhere. And so, sometimes it's hard to imagine, the kind of world that we want. And all these things are weighed down on us. It's kind of hard to get out of bed, to be honest. But I got out of bed today, and I'm glad I did, because I know that there's so many people here, not just here in Vermont, but everywhere, fighting to their hearts, as much as they can. And all of us together, are fighting to defend ourselves and our communities, not just for ourselves, but for each other. And knowing that is crucial. And knowing that we're going to be doing some work today to figure out what does that mean to us, how are we going to get there? And so we are creating the road as we are walking it. And I want to leave with you what we discussed, just briefly, some of the things that we shared in Bellingham last year at the Just Transition Assembly, that sometimes you have to say no to things, but as well you have to say yes as well. And this is our last statement. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath, so I'm going to keep it. So we reject false solutions. No more prisons and detention centers. No more cap and trade or market-based solutions. No more policies that create forced migration and climate refugees. No more destruction of the land and Mother Earth. No more criminalization of our communities. No more nonprofit industrial complex. No more displacement. No more dislocation. But yes to treating people with dignity and respect. Yes to remembering and healing. Yes to indigenous sovereignty and recognition. Yes to true justice. Yes to free bodies. Yes to abundance. Yes to a world free of violence of all forms. Yes to community-led solutions. Yes to building a strong local economy healthy for us and people and the earth. Thank you.
Welcome to folks who travel. Sheila's going to wrap it out. I'm going to
schedule for the day so that you all just know what's going to happen. And then we'll have a break and get to go to the first round of workshops. But if people can just hang with us for another like 10 minutes or so, and we'll bring it to a close and move on. So I'm going to let Liz go next. Okay, awesome.
I'm a member of Vermont Workers Center. I serve on the Pool's Education Committee. Can I just give a shout out for all the pool people out here? Mostly here representing UAW Local 2322, Goddard College, where I serve as a chair. I want to thank you all for coming in. It's a beautiful day, but it's really important that we're here together to dig deep into the problems that are facing us as a community and come together to build ways of building a more just economic system that serves all Vermonters. So if you can bear with me, mine's going to be a little bit more technical, but I promise you this is going to be really enlightening data. We live in a rapidly changing system, as you all know, called capitalism, and its effects have touched every corner of the earth, including Vermont. It has been the engine of continuous transitions and crises. And during those crises, there's a great transfer of wealth, creating greater and greater inequalities. Bernie Sanders has put it in plain terms whenever he says, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And while we have all experienced inequality firsthand, the frustration of not being able to provide quality food, housing, health care, while we see the rich folks buying their seventh home and have access to the best health care in the world, the hand that has harmed us remains largely invisible most of the time. So we cannot fight phantoms. Each individual's experience is indeed a rich source of knowledge, but it alone is limited. So a just transition, a transition led by the people for the people, begins with study and analysis too. And we need to know the socioeconomic forces that are around us. So the following presentation focuses on the economy, work, jobs in broad terms. It doesn't really dive into other manifestations of oppression in Vermont. We'll have time for that in the coming discussions, but because of our time limitations, we can't go too deep into that at this moment. But I do want to recognize that there is racism and policing in schools, discrimination faced by women and LGBTQIA folks, specific struggles from people with disabilities, and that will be spoken about more later. So next slide. So as you can see here, just give you a quick breakdown of the workforce. We have about 626,000 Vermonters, half of whom have a job, and half of those who have a job are employed by small business. And there are 56,000 Vermonters in the public sector, many of whom are teachers. And to give you a comparison that nationally, there are about 60% of the population over 16 is formally employed. And that's according to the February 2016 Bureau of Labor Statistics. So our percentage of employed Vermonters is lower than the national average. So this seems to contradict our much envied low unemployment number, which is now around 3.6%. These numbers imply that jobs aren't being created here. Like we have low unemployment where we're not producing more jobs. It means that our workforce is simply shrinking. So where are those jobs that we have? The next couple of slides are from the Public Assets Institute. They're a great research institute located here in Vermont. They're very progressive and awesome. Suggest you check out their website later. This is from the State of Work in Vermont report in 2015. It shows a general decline in manufacturing and industrial jobs, construction, mining. But we're seeing largely a growth in education, health services, government services, generally what is called the service sector. And just to give you an idea of how this compares with the public sector, there's a lot of overlap. 48% of public sector workers are in education and health services, and 47% are in what is ambiguously termed public administration. Those are the executive, legislative, government officials, justice, public order, the police, administration of environmental programs, economic programs, to give you an idea. And just to step out again, nationally, and to break this down and smooth it into broader categories, looking at the national level, you can see that the general occupational shifts have been part of a larger national trend, where the service sectors are housing, we're seeing a huge decline in industry and industry and agriculture. Yeah. So we're seeing a transition in the economy, but is it a just transition? Who's benefiting? Who's not? And I think we got a clear picture of that today, but in case you need more convincing, okay. So this gets a little bit technical, but I'll break it down really quick. This is pulled from Bureau of Labor Statistics from 2000 to 2014. Over pretty much all those lines at the bottom are everyone else. Our wages are pretty much stagnating or barely growing. This is not adjusted for inflation. And the purple line at the top represents the top decision makers, management, executives, directors. The red line is manufacturing industry, the yellow is the service sector, and the primary sector, if you're wondering, there's a little chunk missing out there, that's the primary sector, which is farming and mining extraction, raw goods extraction. There was a lot of inaccurate data for that time period, so I couldn't really put it into a graph. Next slide. Okay. So worse yet, when adjusted for inflation, most wages, as you can see here, have dropped between 2009 and 2014. Meanwhile, the top 10% of wage earners saw nearly 8% increase in their wages over the same period. The middle class is being eviscerated. In fact, Vermont ranks 4th in the nation for the largest percentage decline in middle class households. The percentage of Vermont families that are considered middle class shrank by 5% between 2000 and 2013. Next slide. And at the same time, whether you are formally employed or not, everyone in Vermont is being squeezed by relentless increases in the cost of living, most notably health care. The cost shift in health insurance onto employees was particularly significant over the decade, increasing nearly 70% for a family. And adjusted for inflation, the cost of childcare, housing, and college too have increased by double digits from 2004 to 2014. Meanwhile, the median income shrank from $58,328 inflation-adjusted dollars to $54,166 in 2014. So where is all that money going? The simple answer is to 1%. The inequality between the rest of us and the 1% has grown substantially over the years. Between 1980 and 2013, the share of Vermont's income going to the top 1% nearly doubled, while the bottom 99% are left shared a smaller portion. To give you just an idea of how much money we're talking about here, in 1980, the top 1%'s income was nearly $700 million adjusted for 2014 inflation. By 2013, that amount has increased to threefold to $2.4 billion. And the poor are getting poorer. While the latest annual homeless count by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development showed that the number of homeless Vermonters fell a little bit, there was an overall 25% increase since the official end of the recession. Think about that. The recession's over, but we still have more homeless people than before. So, how do the rich get richer and make the poor poorer? Well, one answer is they are organized. And we need to get organized, and that's what we're here to do today. So, the League in Vermont are politically organized for their agenda. The one example is the Burlington Bishops, led by Harlan Sylvester. There's a wonderful article, if you want to get more into this, by Shay Trotton in 7 Days, 2010. But the short story is that he's a well-connected finance sector power broker who has been described by many as a kingmaker in Vermont statewide politics. And you can see what his agenda is in broad terms here. His basic goal has always been to keep the tax rates low for his high-end clients, and he's found congenial Democrats and Republicans at both sides of the party. So that's why we need to hold them accountable and come together and create our own movement. Yeah. And they go along with them. And here's some more stats for you. I can't spend too much time going all of them, but it $10 million subsidies to Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. They're the top revenue generating corporation here in the state of Vermont. They don't need our help, really. They generate almost $4 billion. They've generated almost $4 billion in revenue in 2011. And Green Mountain Power is the 12th highest revenue generating company, bringing in $263 million in 2013. So some of you may be familiar with this image. It's from the 18-day Burlington bus driver strike, which ended in I was so amazing, I was so inspired, and I'm really proud to be living in Vermont now. This place has such a deep history of struggle, right here, even in central Vermont. Coreyman and Barry won a 9-hour workday in 1890, and then an 8-hour day in 1902 through organized collective action. And this weekend falls on May Day, an international day of celebration, specifically commemorating the Haymarket Affair in Chicago on May 4th, which galvanized the national push for an 8-hour workday. And more broadly, we're celebrating the many victories led by people who organize themselves around a vision of a more just society. So thank you so much for doing that today.
All right, thanks, Liz. All that knowledge. Okay. So just real quick, before I let Sheila close us out and take us into the next section of the day, I just want to do a couple announcements. Did everyone get a program when they came in at the registration table? Can we give a round of applause for our registration volunteers? Pretty awesome. So check it out, there's lots of stuff in there. I'm just going to go over real briefly so you get a sense of what's coming up. Once we leave this assembly, we're going to have a short break. And then there's going to be 3 what we're calling current struggles assemblies, where we're going to be talking about what are the problems that our communities are experiencing in more depth. We got a snapshot this morning, more depth, and what are the solutions people have been trying to get to, what are the challenges and successes in those solutions. In this room here, people are going to be talking about from worker exploitation to work with dignity. And that's going to have themes about, how are workers getting organized? How is racism and discrimination playing out in the workplace? What does that issue look like for people with disabilities? What does a feminist economy look like? And what is our vision for what work could be? And how are we going to get there? So those are going to be some topics in this room. Over in the gym right next door, we're going to be talking about from budget cuts and exclusion to human rights. Issues like the state budget process and how the state is actually funneling, how the state is actually creating a budget that increases the wealth of the 1% while poverty for the rest of us, and at the same time how public institutions are used for dividing and conquering our communities through institutions like the police and through violent and racist policies that we experience. And then in the energy democracy track over in the cafeteria, they're going to be talking about how we build, they're going to be talking about a just transition from fossil fuels, how we have a movement for climate justice that puts people most impacted, frontline, and most marginalized communities at the center. So you can pick which one you're going to go to. In those rooms, you'll find out about what the rooms are for the afternoon sessions, where it's going to be more based, less of a panel discussion and more of a discussion between all of you about what are actually the strategies that we're going to need to use to unify ourselves to get to the kind of visions that we're going to talk about. And that's going to be a strategy session later today. Later on after that, there's going to be a break. We're going to do a report back in the cafeteria, a big group photo, and then in the afternoon at about, I don't have the time in front of me, so you'll have to look at your program. But after that report back, we're going to break out into, there's going to be people of color caucus, and in the other room, there's going to be a conversation amongst white folks about being in solidarity in the racial justice movement. And so, yeah, so definitely don't miss that. And then afterwards, Sheila's going to tell us a little more about it, but there's a celebration tonight. We're all going to come back and meet here tomorrow morning for a conversation we're calling Beyond the Ballot Box, about how we're building a
Center. So, I wanted to thank all the speakers who are up here today already. Let's just give them a round of applause for everybody. I'm extremely honored to be here today, and I have an easy part of really just going over some agreements with all of you. So I want to first say thank you to all the folks who sponsored this event, to all the folks who came from out of town, from Providence, shout out, from Massachusetts, Maine, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Detroit, New York, California. Thanks to all educators and volunteers at the kids camp, and to all the kids, to the youth summit and the coordination. Thank you. Thank you to all the people in the People's Kitchen for feeding our souls. More Yummy Pizza and Grassroots Global Justice Alliance for sponsoring us. Yes. The Cause for Justice. Nesri, the national organizations that are helping us make this all happen. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you to all who donated food. Thank you to all the interpreters, many of whom are donating their time and talents, and to all the artists who made banners, posters, and more. We could not do this without the arts. And thank you to all of you for dedicating yourselves to being here in this building and in this movement together. We know it's nice out. We know it's almost May. We know there's lots of things that you could be doing this weekend, and we are grateful and thankful that you're here with this movement with us. And it is no small commitment, but it's the only chance we have at building a world that we want to see. Everybody should have a program that contains maps and schedules, and you should all look, and you have gotten your packets and handouts. So extra organizational sponsorships and additional workshops. So there are many more people who helped sponsor us today and who are supporting the work that we are doing. So please check out those handbooks and please applaud them as we go out through the day. I also want to remind people that there are gender-neutral bathrooms on the first and second floors, as well as men's and women's bathrooms. So please look at those signs. Refer people to your maps and programs for the child care room. So please look at your maps. You will see child care rooms where the youth summit is, where elevators are, the nursing room for the moms, the community care, and the healing spaces. So please check out your maps if you're looking for those resources. We also have developed a care team for emotional support and a medic team in case there are first aid needs. So if you're in need of something happens in one of the workshops, or if you're in need of some emotional support, there is a team that's out there to help you to do that, as well as a medic team if you feel ill or if you get hurt. So tonight, I want to talk about you sticking around tonight because it's going to be exciting! Woo! So tonight we're going to have a concert in the cafeteria where the Youth Summit is performing. We're going to have a great variety show. Please stay to check out our wonderful youth. Let's give a round of applause for them. We're going to be having our Paraji Vella and our very own Jill, who's going to be in a band for the night. Maya Vargas and the A2VT will be performing, a local hip-hop group. There will be an art build where we can silk screen and canvas our bags. Everybody got a bag to silk screen? And that you got a registration. And we'll also be making signs for tomorrow for our May Day march. Now, our march is going to be a serious march because as you heard from up here from many people from Migrant Justice, our very own Victor Diaz is being detained. So tomorrow, we will be kicking off the march and rally in solidarity of Victor, who is being detained by ICE, which is immigration enforcement, right now. Are you all going to be there with us tomorrow? March for Victor? Today we want to go forth grounded in how we would like to treat each other in this space. Today day is about bringing people together to work towards justice for ourselves and for our communities. We hope that everyone here is here to learn, grow, and build together. We want to make this experience inclusive for all people, but we can't do it alone. We ask for your support to make this event accessible to all abilities, ages, races, and genders. We ask that you challenge the systems of oppression while we are here. And what that means is, during the day, be mindful of how we move about. Do not make assumptions on people's needs or their abilities to do things or to access them. Be mindful that people have disabilities that they may not be able to see. Remember to challenge systems of oppression and to call in folks rather than call them out on the racist and patriarchal ways of our thinking, and to not make assumptions on one's race or cultural background. Remember to look at someone's name tag or their preferred pronoun or gender. Don't assume you know if someone wants to be called he, she, or they. Our media team is going to be documenting this event because it's important for us to share our struggles and for our growing movement. If you do not want to have your picture or be in a video, that is totally cool. Please see any other people doing media and tell them personally that you would like to not be included in that footage. There's no shame in that whatsoever. We also like to say facilitators will actively make sure that there's a balance of voices being heard in all the workshops. Folks who are more comfortable speaking in big groups should step up. They're listening and make space for others' participation. We should also make sure that we're creating a lot of space for voices typically more marginalized in society to step up. We're asking for people to speak slowly for interpreters. There will be not only Spanish interpreting, but there might be other interpreting going on as well. So please be mindful if you're presenting to speak slowly so interpreters are able to translate. We're going to debate ideas, not people. We will be having note takers, we'll be taking track of our conversations. We are excited and truly honored that we have a kids camp and a youth summit. However, the whole space is kid-friendly, and kids and youth are welcome in all of our spaces. Yeah.